Hi guys, this is Carrie. You're watching A Crone's Life. I'm here to do a tarot tag. I'm kind of excited. I haven't done one in a while, and this one seems to be really popular, so of course I want to do it. The first prompt is your first tarot deck, and I do not own that anymore, so the closest I can come is the Barbara Walker. I actually had this when I was in college, and it wasn't in a tin at the time, and I didn't understand it at all. I just thought I would jump right in and start reading it like I would any Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, and it's not exactly like that. I rarely read deeper into the cards. I don't know. I just thought it was just like every other deck in a way, but it was awfully pretty, and I'm a sucker for really cool art, so this was that one. I have fun stories to tell about the other tarot decks, but I'm actually, kind of excited about looking at the decks that I used to have. I got a hold of a friend of mine, Amy. We went to New Orleans together several times, but there was this one time when we went to see the Severed Heads in concert. She reminded me of all these decks that I had at the time, and I've been on the lookout. I've been at eBay and Etsy to try and get these vintage decks. So if I start showing, decks from the 80s, that's gonna be why. I'm trying to replace my old decks. It's hilarious. Prompt number 2 is my most recent deck, and that is the Forgotten Legends. I showed this on a different video, probably the unboxing. This is a Russian deck, and it's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. I'm very excited to have it. I was thinking of using it for Best Faces, but I changed my mind. Obviously I didn't want to do it twice, but it has like a really great cardstock. It's very sturdy and great feel. If you want to watch the walkthrough, I'll link the other video in the description box. But I just received this the other day, so this one's the most recent. And I did make a huge order. Well, I say huge. 4 decks I got from Cassandra over at Riffle in Time, and I'd like to show those sometime, but now is not that time, so just mentioning it. The next prompt is the one with the best colors. I have a terrible time making decisions, so I've got 3 different decks to show the best colors because they're really different, but they're all really great. I'll try not to get my shadow in the pictures, but there might be some glare, so this is the Tarot of the Starbound Phantasia. This is Taylor Ellis. Again, go to illustrations.net and pre-order the Ellis tarot deck. Please, 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 please. We really want to get that next printing out. I just want it. And I've been waiting for it for years now. So please go check out illustrations.net. Again, description box below for the actual link. So this is my first best colors. I'm trying to do this quickly, but I'm also trying not to be messy. Second best colors is the Tarot of the Sacred Bee. Everything is gorgeous on this deck, like the matte, teal, foily, fun stuff. The bees on the back. Color, 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 my friend. And this is a Thoth inspired deck. But it's so full of imagery. It's so full of feeling. I just love this deck. It's full of bees also. said I'm trying not to put my shadow in there, but I'm doing that. Haha. Okay. Again, I'm trying to be fast, but do you see all the beautiful colors? They're just gorgeous. Oh, you gotta see that one. Some of my favorite colors. Oh. Absolutely adore this deck. Look at the backs. Oh, peonies. Oh. It's beautiful. But you can see they have, each suit has like a theme of color. And the wands are going to be yellowish. Pentacles are grayish, I think. Oh, that one's upside down. Wands, pentacles, so green-gray, I guess. Aren't they beautiful? Oh, that pentacles is very yellow, very pretty, very orange. Yes, they are cool, cool, cool. I should put them in order sometime and show you the colors, because I bet they, yeah, anyway. How cool is that? Oh, love this deck. Okay, next prompt is best faces on the cards, and I have the tarot deck of the classic Mountains and Seas. I'll just grab the ones on the top, and I'm going to try to hold them up so you can see the faces a little bit better. The artwork is kind of dark, so you have to kind of just be holding them in front of you to be able to see how gorgeous the faces are. Let me see if I can find one that's pretty close. That one's lit. That one's nice. I think the moon is pretty... Oh, the High Priestess. And the Wheel of Fortune. Ooh, she's pretty too. The next prompt is the largest deck. So... this is the largest deck. I am going to zoom out because it is also Zia Hunt's artwork. This is the Nameless One. And the cards are gigantic, but really this deck is just a big old deck. It's got oracle cards in here, it's got the tarot in here, and it's a gigantic deck. That's upside down. That one's not. Okay. I also don't see this one on the internet too much anymore. I used to see it more frequently. I think that some of the tarot tubers that I really like to watch have this deck. I don't know why some of the cards are upside down. I don't read reversals. Anyway, but I also have, they're not as thick as this one, but I've got the Sugar Skull. I'm making a mess. The Sugar Skull Tarot, and it's almost the same size. It's just not as tall as this one. So it's pretty big. And then I also have the Margaret Peterson, and I couldn't tell if it was the same size. Oh no, it's wider. I couldn't tell if it was the same size as the Sugar Skull Tarot without taking it out and looking at it. I just didn't feel like doing that. So this could be as big because it's just bigger from a different direction. Anyway, this one ultimately is bigger because there's more cards, but if you're just counting the tarot part of it, you can't really count the oracle cards, so maybe that doesn't count. Okay, so the next prompt is smallest deck. So I have three pretty small decks. I've got the Linestrider, the Mini Mice, and this is the 78 Animal Tarot. I'll be so surprised if there's a different one that's smaller. I do have oracle decks that are way smaller, that are like half this size, but I don't have any other tarots that are this small. Okay, let's see. Oh, pretty close, pretty close. Well, way far away. I had a feeling this one was way big, but I just wanted to check. So this is the Linestrider Tarot by C.L.O. Thompson. I also have her other kins and her Winter Seers Oracle. I put those in wrong, but that's okay. I'll fix them the next time I open it. The next prompt is best court cards. So my first favorite court cards is the Tarot of the Crystal World. Brooke Penrose did such a great job with these faces, and I love these court cards. So that was the best court cards, and well, the next one is most worn out decks. So let's see. Most worn out deck is my True Heart Tarot. I've taken this deck everywhere with me. Every time I would go on vacation, from the time that I got it, it was the one that I took with me. So I could show you up here. The backs are scratched up. The edges are just a little fatter than they used to be. I've had to go back over the red with my marker a few times, but I mean, it still looks really good. It's other than just scratched. I suppose with a little bit more time, I'll have some of the color wearing off. And I do plan on getting, see, look at that card. Whew. I do plan on getting another copy of this. That one's so scratched. Okay, so that's my True Heart Tarot.
Maybe they just teased you, but I think it's about the time.
Okay, the next prompt is the most esoteric decks that you have, and I kind of went a different direction with this. I saw a lot of people grabbing their decks that have just layers and layers and layers of symbolism and meanings and different systems all mixed up into one deck of cards, and that really makes a ton of sense. But I went for Charlie Quintero. All of her decks to me are very esoteric because there's just absolutely no way to know what's going on inside her brain. Now, this is a holographic deck. I'm so sorry. I've got another one I could use, but it's tucked away. It would be I mean, I just have to take her artwork and turn it into my own meanings, because I could not possibly figure out what she was thinking when she did some of these drawings. I really hate how holographic this deck is. It's so hard to see. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, I hope that you guys kind of like the rainbow show anyway. Happy Pride Month. Oh gosh. Okay, so that was my take on esoteric, but I also thought, well, you're right. I mean, all the layers and everything really does make it like more hard to grasp, more difficult to grasp. So the Handle Tarot is one that I believe is very esoteric because it has a gigantic guidebook, and I don't know if I bought it or not, but a friend of mine or a person on the internet told me about the gigantic guidebook, and so I went out and I either purchased it or it's sitting in my cart somewhere. I have to look, I'm not sure, but Rachel Pollack, is Rachel Pollack right? Positive it is. Anyway, I'm just gonna say Rachel Pollack because I'm pretty sure that's who helped do this. But they added like the I Ching, and it's very Thoth based. They have numerology in here. They've got Hebrew letters, just a plethora of symbolism. So it's very exciting, and it seems to be pretty deep. So the next prompt is best deck for shadow work. Traditionally, my problem, what I'm working on in shadow work, is spending money. I'm filling a void in my heart with junk. I buy things to give me a dopamine hit and to just comfort my soul. So my shadow work focuses on money and possessions and greed and all the shiny things. And this deck absolutely focuses on greed. So traditionally I use this one. What I have found, if I need more broad spectrum shadow work, broad spectrum antibiotics, then I'll use one of these decks, and save the best one for last. This is what's it called? The Wayward Tarot. This is actually my daughter's deck. She has not asked for it back, so I still have it. It's got a weird vibe. It's also Thoth based. It's sinister but not dark, if that makes sense. It feels like it twists what I say into a different narrative, and that makes me second guess my thoughts, and it works well for me. So I also don't see this deck very often. I have seen it once or twice on TarotTube, but I don't see this deck very often on TarotTube. I'm not sure why. It's a really good deck. Maybe people just don't like Thoth-based decks. She also has the Neon Moon Tarot, and it's RWS, so anyway, this is a very good shadow work deck. My daughter even used it for shadow work before she even knew what that was. It's pretty cool. But my favorite broad spectrum shadow work deck is the Labanco Tarot. And dare I say, this deck is kind of mean, but some cards are comforting. It's almost like it smacks you and then hugs you or something. It's bizarre. quickly becoming one of my most favorite decks. I love it. And I love the artwork, and I love the colors. I love the feel of the cards. Backs are gorgeous. I mean, there's nothing not to love about this deck. So the Linestrider Tarot. So the next prompt is best backs, and I like so many of my deck's backs, but this one, the Yokai Yoshi, is something I would wear if it were fabric. It's so pretty. This could also be one of my favorite cardstocks, but since I've got plenty to choose from, okay, never mind. Awesome deck. Love this deck. I use it for just about every new moon and sometimes a full moon, but it really has more new moon energy to me. Again, that's the Yokai Yoshi, and it is by Bubo Plague. I'm not positive if you can find it still, but you would go to their website, buboplague.com, I believe. The next prompt is best cardstock, and I have a couple for that. This one I like to bring out and talk about the cardstock because I've not ever seen anything like it before. I've mentioned this in the past, and I've referred to it as like tree bark. I don't really know how to describe it. If I can get it under the light just right. Of course, the glare hurts my eyes too. You could see that it has this texture to it that is not uniform like linen cardstock, but it's, yeah, it's a lot like a very smooth tree bark. The only complaint I have about this cardstock is that the ink is coming off on the edges, and I didn't really think I was being that rough on the deck. Let's see if I can find some of the cards. Yeah, I mean, around all of the corners. I was playing with this deck the other day and noticing how the ink was kind of just being rubbed off in certain places. And I mean, I like a distressed look on a well-loved deck, but I was also thinking, well, I just wonder how it's gonna look when I really start using it a lot, or when it's been in my collection being used for a long period of time. I hope it looks the way it's supposed to. I mean, loved, but I hope it doesn't look too ratty. It's kind of a fine line between ratty and well-loved. So I wasn't able to find exactly the cards I was thinking about, but there's definitely some spots where they hit each other when I'm shuffling, because I do like to shuffle like this, and that's banging them together essentially, and it's pretty rough on the cards. But also the rubbing, throwing them around. But that's one cardstock that I find very unique, and it feels nice, it sounds nice. It's easy to riffle shuffle, but I've been trying not to do that quite so much with my decks. Just because it doesn't really matter to me, it's not as important that I can riffle shuffle something. And so I didn't really want to hurt the cards. This deck, very cool deck. I bought this thinking it looks just like Polaroids. So, and it does. I mean, it's just made to look exactly like Polaroids. Now, The interesting thing is, okay, I edged it. It took forever to edge because this particular kind of cardstock doesn't just take ink. Almost had to paint them. And that was quite laborious. Hold on one second. Okay, so I have two versions of this deck. I have a backup copy, and I did that because I really love this deck. I just wanted to make sure that I would have a pristine copy if and when I tore up the other. Because of the painting, the edges and everything, I was sure I had messed it up. But the fact that it's made to look and feel like Polaroid pictures, it charms me. I adore Polaroid pictures. I have tons of family pictures from, I don't know, the 70s, 80s, where they're all Polaroids, and it feels marvelous. Just wonderful. And so this is the deck that I came back, well, anyway, silly story, but I love this deck. It's called the True North, I believe. Yep, True North Tarot. I got it off of Etsy. I have no idea if it's still available, but I'm not sad that I have two copies. It's perfect. Everything about it is just perfect for me. The guidebook, and this, I know this prompt isn't about the deck itself, it's about the cardstock, but the deck has a guidebook that tells you exactly where all of these pictures were taken and how they relate to the card that they're associated with. So you can see I was so sloppy doing my edging. I just knew I was going to mess it up. I don't think it's all that bad though. Even if it comes in a little bit, or a lot, I'm happy with what I did to personalize this deck. And again, if I have a backup copy, there's really no reason for me to be too precious with this deck. So again, this is the True North, and it's like Polaroid pictures, and I love it. I absolutely love it. The next prompt is Soft Silky Touch, and I may have mentioned this before, but I am one of those people who love the rose petal finish that used to be so popular. I don't know, it's just like feeling decadence. I love the feeling. I love all the sensations you get from this rose petal finish. Yes, it clumps, and I'm not worried about it. I have this technique of shuffling that does not bother. It doesn't really matter with the clumping because I can piece it apart, and I go over and under in irregular sections of the cards, and I feel like it's a very useful shuffle. It's very satisfying. I get to touch every card if I choose to. I believe it's effective. It separates the cards top to bottom well, and then if I want to clumpily shuffle it this way, it's a lot like cutting the deck several times. It works nicely for me. I like everything about the feel of this deck. And this, of course, is the Children of Litha Tarot by Zia Hunt. And I have the black edition, which, as far as I understand, is a little less rose petally than the other, with the, I don't remember what color the metallic edges were, but with the shiny edges. So this is my Silky Finish, Silky Touch Tarot, Children of Litha. The next prompt is the best sound when shuffling, and there's a lot of decks that kind of make the same sound to me, but I've chosen the Sufi Tarot. The cards are big, and they have this very paper-based feel to them, but because they're so big, they make a real deep rumbling noise when you riffle shuffle them. And when you overhand shuffle them, because it's just matte cardstock, it makes a very quiet whisper of a noise. I like both of those noises. I think the deep rumbling is really, really nice. I'm having a hard time wrapping my hands around these cards, but I promise. Something like that. Something deep. Something almost like a purr. I love that. So this is the Sufi Tarot. Ayeda Hanson. Most misunderstood. Well, I don't have an answer to that at all, because I think everybody on TarotTube is out here telling us and teaching us how to understand our decks better, so I'm not sure that anybody misunderstands their decks. And I wouldn't ask somebody who doesn't know anything about tarot, because they don't understand anything. So I just figured it would give me an opportunity to talk about the different Thoth-based alternatives. So this is called the Thoth Journey, and it is an Aquarius edition. I don't know if there are other editions, but I really like how sketchy and raw the artwork is. There's nothing pristine about it. It does not have the title words for the minors, but the colors are all correct. Great deck. And this is mass market. You can get it on Amazon. A longtime favorite of mine is the Asura Tarot, and I think everybody loves this deck. I don't think there's a single tarot tuber that I know of that doesn't recognize this deck. Again, gorgeous faces. There's the backs. And last but not least, I'm not going to remember the name of it. I'll put it on the screen because that's the only way I can do this. But look how clean it is. It's so... oh, yeah. So my style, or what I really am drawn to, is very cartoonish type of art. And this scratches that itch, as Lisa would say. It gives me that childlike feeling in a very mature deck. And that makes it less intimidating. It makes it more accessible to me and my thinking. I'm a child at heart, and so, you know, these are just Really pretty pictures, guys. I love this. If I ever get brave enough, I'll edge the deck. Look at the Fool. It's the Green Man. I love it. Okay, so I will have already put the name on the screen for you. Oh, look at the Empress. Can you see her? Oh yeah, there she is. Oh, I love it. It's the Aleister Crowley Tarot. I should have known that. I obviously could not have known that because I didn't. Okay, so the next prompt is most oldest or historic deck that you have, and just as a disclaimer, I had not decided to go and get a historic deck. If I were to get one, I believe I would have chosen the Solabuska. It's just beautiful. I love everything about it. The artwork, the palette, everything is gorgeous, but somehow I ended up with, and believe me, I have no idea how I got this, but I ended up with this deck, and it's not the most beautiful deck I've ever seen. I believe that the printing, there's some issues. I've kind of compared it to other decks that have the same artwork, and this, for instance, is a very, I want to say it's like they've taken a lot of the detail out of the original artwork to put it on this card. So, I mean, I don't know anything about anything, but I do know that the comparisons that I've seen between other decks that are using the same artwork and this one, this is not the best reproduction of the artwork. So this is actually the Tarot d'Italia, and I'm not sure that I'm saying it correctly. So Jean-Baptiste Alliette, I believe is his name, and Alliette, A-L-L, he spun it around and it made the Italia tarot deck. This was published originally in 1789. He was working on occult studies and tarot from 1783 to 1785, and he worked with Madame Lenormand, and I guess he inspired her to do certain things with her Lenormand deck, which is very cool. I mean, I learning about the creator of the deck was very cool, but there's just not a whole lot of information about him. Like, I don't know if he was married. I don't know a whole lot about him, but he is actually considered the first professional tarot reader, tarot creator in history. Like, he paved the way for all these other creators and tarot professionals to be self-sufficient in their tarot enthusiasm. So, or fortune-telling enthusiasm. And so, for Christmas, my husband got me this deck. And this is not by that creator, but it uses the same artwork. And basically, I believe this is Primer Tarot Español. It's like the first Spanish tarot. And as you can see, it uses the same artwork, or mostly. As I said before, the images are either elaborated on or they're simplified. So I'm not really sure what kind of comment to make about any of them, except they're different, and and I don't have the history of the actual deck because I don't have a box, I don't have anything except for Google Lens. And here you can see what I'm talking about with the face of the devil. I really like this one better, but obviously it's the same artwork, it's just they've manipulated it. So this is what I know. This particular deck, when they created this deck, they decided to throw in all this extra information. So they have the Hebrew letters, and they have some hieroglyphics, and they have information about the well, the name of the card and the meaning of the card in reverse. So yeah, that's what I have for history decks, and I wish I had more information about them. I just really don't know, and I wasn't prepared to have it in my collection because I've never been drawn to this type of historical deck. The Tarot, the Navigators of the Mystic Sea, and the Child Inside Tarot. Okay, so we'll start with the Child Inside. This is Alice Smeets. She was traveling, and while she was, I don't know, doing the thing that she does, she started considering a Kickstarter of this deck. Basically, she wanted to just gather the children and have them depict all the wonderful cards of the tarot. And I think that there's 4 or 5 children that she's used as models in this deck. It's a great deck. I was a little disappointed when I first got it because there's only like 5 children in the deck, and I thought it was going to be like all the village and, you know, a whole bunch of families, and I don't know. I had higher hopes for like the variety of people that we would see in the deck, but once I started working with this deck, it's the imagery, not the child, that makes this such a spectacular deck to me. And talk about inner child work. I mean, it just expands my imagination. I love this. So this one surprised me because, like I said, when I first got it, I was disappointed, and then as I worked with it, I was like, whoa, you blowing me away, girl. So I was very happy, and I still am. So that is the Child Inside. I'll show you the Dark Woods Tarot. I edged mine in green. I think this was the first, no, this wasn't the first one. This is one of the first edging jobs I ever did. Got brave enough to actually edge something. So the Dark Woods Tarot, when I bought it, I told you I really liked the cartoony stuff. I was drawn to, is it Sasha Graham? Abigail Larson. It's Abigail Larson's artwork. So I was just drawn to it. I thought it was gorgeous, and I loved it, and I thought I could read with this every single day. And then I took it out of town when my daughter and I were traveling by ourselves, so I had lots of time kind of to myself, really, and I studied this deck for a week, or a little over a week, and boy, this deck is brutal. It will hand you your ass. It's just so to the point and kind of vicious about some of the criticisms it has of me, and I was really surprised. And when you read the guidebook, it's succinct, like it tells the story, and you are the people in the deck, and wow. So it's dark, and I thought that it was just pretty. Story of every single deck. I thought it was pretty. Anyway, yes, I bought it because it was pretty, and I'm pleased with it because it is serious. It is a serious deck. So that's the Dark Woods Tarot. Okay, Navigators Tarot of the Mystic Sea. I'm never sure how to say that. Who or what? Don't know. Julia Turk. So, one thing, it's a Thoth-based deck, and that I didn't know. I was just trying to be a hipster and get something I hadn't seen on the internet, and so I got this one. And it surprised me because, wow, like this tiny little guidebook really tells you everything. And I believe that there's a really big guidebook also that I could find, and I will. But yeah, as you can see, it's a little mysterious. Yeah, right away, it's not just, well, for me, it's not just I can get exactly what I need to out of that card. But if you spend time with it, you can read and you can study the cards and you can really intuit what it's all about. And everything is deliberate. It's so cool. So super sophisticated, awesome deck. I did not take it seriously when I was looking at it to buy, and now I'm like, it's such a serious deck. It's cool. It's very cool. So the next prompt is best purchase story, and don't judge me too harshly. I have crazy stories from my college days. That was when I just was finding out who I was, and that's when I was doing the craziest things. But and I've mentioned before that I read tarot in college. I didn't really read it correctly. I read everything as if it were Rider-Waite-Smith, and I had the Barbara Walker tarot at one point. The tarot deck that I believe I used the most was the Hanson Roberts. It was the first tarot deck that I ever had, and so my story goes kind of like a friend of mine, Amy. We used to hang out a lot, and we went to New Orleans a few times. She's from Atlanta, so she would take me to Atlanta to meet friends of hers, and we would do party things. And yeah, and so one time we wanted to go to New Orleans, and we were going to a concert. I don't believe anybody would remember, but there was a band called the Severed Heads, and they were playing at a bar called Max's. And so we used to go down and dance at the Blue Crystal and shop at Tower Records and drink hurricanes. And so we went to Marie Laveau's one time when we were there for the concert, and I found a lot of decks that I wanted. And I grew up poor. I was poor. I had no money to buy decks. So I was packing Hanson Roberts, and I went out in Jackson Square, and I decided to read tarot cards for the passersby for money. And you couldn't ask for a certain amount of money. You could only get like what people wanted to give you. And fortunately, nobody like threatened my life or ran me off, because absolutely they could have. It was not the same kind of New Orleans that it is today. I think I was risking my life. But I read tarot cards through the evening, and the next day we went back to Marie Laveau's, and I bought some tarot decks with the money that I made in Jackson Square, and it was great and wonderful. And not really. It was terrible, stupid, bad idea. I do not recommend, but that's what I did. And I've been trying to find those tarot decks. Like, Amy's super cool. She's trying to help me remember like what they were. I believe that Tarot of the Ages was one of them, and I just got this in the other day. It feels perfect to me. I'd like to go through it sometime, and I'm positive that I got the Merlin Tarot. So I've got these two sorted. I'm pretty sure I bought those two while we were there, and I don't know how long I kept them. I use the Hanson Roberts for everything, and I use the Barbara Walker sometimes when I was feeling very, I don't know, spunky, because the Barbara Walker is so completely different, and I don't know that my friends really, I don't think they trusted me that I knew what I was talking about. I think that was wise. Self-readings. What decks do I only use for self-readings? So that's all of them, because like I just said, I really don't read for other people right now. I read for my mom, and she has dementia / Alzheimer's, and so she doesn't really count. Like, it's more like I'm reading about her to me, but she enjoys watching me do the cards, so I read for my mom, and every once in a while I'll do a spread for my children and my husband, and those are really not for them so much as it's about them. So I don't read for other people. That would be my answer. So most difficult to master. Well, this was a fun one because I only found 2, but I could go get the Star Power Tarot, because any of Charlie Quintero's decks are difficult to master because there's so much going on. I mean, you have to be kind of in her brain, or you have to have a brain like hers to really know how the heck all this works. So it's a little chaotic, and I have moods where this is exactly what I need, because when I'm really hyper, yeah, this works super well for me. Or when I'm really depressed, this works really well. It shakes me up, you know? But I cannot say that I've mastered any of this. It's definitely not easy for me, so that's why it's on this prompt. I really love how her brain works, though. This is just so cool. Let's see. Yep, that's the backs. Once again, gorgeous backs. All the backs are gorgeous. Okay, so there's this one, and then the Red Raven Tarot. I got this on Kickstarter. No regrets, do not worry. I love the deck, but it is really difficult. This would have to be my number 1. If I only picked one deck to say it's hard to master, this is it. This is the guidebook. That's like, I don't know, 9 pages, 6 pages, 9 pages, something like that. And these are the backs. And these are the cards. So he has his own language. I believe this is the way that it goes. I have not figured out how to read it yet. I mean, I have, but I haven't. Because I can look at this and I can see certain words, but to be honest with you, I'm a little bit too lazy to just spend that kind of time with it. Let me turn these around. Obviously, I've got them upside down. But it's easy to count the cups and count the swords. The counting the vines, because those are the wands, that's really hard. Pentacles are easy. The major arcana are really hard. I will one day spend a lot of time just getting to know this deck like through and through, but for right now, I'm a little too easily distracted. So I'm not there yet. That's the most difficult to master for me. And the very last prompt. Yay me! Yay you! We made it to the end. Okay, the very last prompt is the best overall deck. And of course I have 3 because I can't choose just one. Have the Linestrider Tarot because I absolutely adore the Linestrider Tarot. I even bought a second copy after her husband passed away. She decided she's going to move, and I don't blame her. I would be also very devastated and unable to deal with life if I lost my husband, so I completely understood and tried to buy as much stuff as I could from her shop so that she didn't have to pack up so much stuff. One day she says she might reopen her shop, but she just doesn't have plans for it, so I bought myself a second deck. And yes, the Linestrider Tarot, I absolutely love it. And you know what's funny is I remember when the first one came out and everybody like said, oh, I love the Reclaim, but I really hate this tarot deck. And now we're just like, oh my god, this is the best tarot deck ever. It's funny how people's tastes change over the years, isn't it? Yeah. So the Linestrider is 1. The Floating Tarot, the Floating World Tarot, there's the backs. Those are also gorgeous. They're beautiful. I love the colors. This one. Yes, I really need to do a top 10 tarot deck video because there's just some really, really wonderful decks in my collection right now. And I'd love to just use the ones that are brand new to me so I can know where they fall in the top 10. That'd be really nice. Or if they do. This one like shot straight up to number 3 or whatever the minute that I got it. I even read the guidebook, or I'm almost done with the guidebook, and that's saying a whole lot because I just don't have time or mental aptitude right now. I'm drained. I'm mentally drained, so I don't read a whole lot. I'm going to take all my guidebooks, not all of them, I'm going to take a lot of my guidebooks on our trip with us when we go on vacation so I can just read in the truck while we're driving. Yep, it's a great deck. Great deck. So that's number 2. And of course, anybody that knows me knows that my number 1 will always be the Merlin Tarot. And it's upside down. Oh. Best deck ever. And it's perfect timing because now I need to get ready for my husband to come home from work and my back is screaming at me, so I need to take some medicine. Be nice if those icy hot things would work, but they do not. They just aggravate my skin. Anyway, love this deck. Always love this deck. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope I don't seem too rushed. I just wanted to kind of get everything out of the way, and I wanted to share more than one of everything because I just have a hard time making any kind of decisions. So yeah, you get to see all my crazy thoughts in action. See, I'm still in a rush. I hope I don't have to do this video again. You guys have a great week. I'll talk to you later.